Several things that I want to do to just kind of wrap us up here, and we will close with it. There's other questions that come up here. But I have three things here that I want to go over. One is the last section, the last few slides that we're not really specifically going over is about the whole community component. Because if you remember the puzzle piece that we kind of started with all the components, and there was the parents and the individual and the school and so forth, the community was one of those. And it was, Cynthia mentioned a couple minutes ago about how the system might be able to involve some of the community businesses by having posters there and so forth. Some school systems have had, like, maybe Lowe's would put up on their marquee, you know, Hickory Public Schools, no bullying or something like that. But it's just to kind of involve the community more than just saying, will you finance this school so they can buy no bullying t-shirts, although that could be part of a partnership too. But since the school system is doing this, they're really not pushing or even encouraging schools to start building those partnerships on a school-by-school basis yet. They're going to look at that more by system. So that's why we aren't really even going there yet. It's not that we don't agree that the community needs to partner with us, but it looks like we're going to do that more as a system right now, okay? As far as where we're going from here, three things come to mind. One is we're not sure, and that's just to be honest. We're, as some of the question and answers have shown, we're trying to figure out exactly, okay, how will this actually work? What will we do here? For example, the opening student meeting, the kickoff, how exactly is that going to look like? So where are we going from here? We're not really sure on the one hand, but we do know we are going to have a student kickoff. We've already talked about that. It'll be the first couple of weeks of school. And the third thing of where we're going from here is the parent kickoff. And we've already mentioned that's going to be done at this Friday night's open house. And I just wanted to spend a minute letting you know what we're going to do at that open house, because the question came up on common PowerPoints and so forth. This Friday's open house is going to look a little different because it's not going to be like we used to. It's actually going to start off with a pretty big meeting in the gym that could last 30 or 40 minutes. That's why we're combining sneak peek and open house this year. We're not inviting parents back for an open house in 4 weeks. We're combining them. And I'm going to talk a little more about it at our opening staff meeting, about everything else that will go on that evening. But one of the things I'll do is I will actually do a short PowerPoint on Olweus for all of the parents that are here this Friday night. And I think I have like 10 or 12 slides, so I'm hoping it's going to be 8-9 minutes. It's not going to be a 30-minute presentation. But I just wanted to let y'all know the slides that I'm thinking of going over. And between now and Friday, if you would let me know, after hearing this training, I really think this is something that the parents need to hear on day one that you didn't mention. And I would appreciate that. But I plan to just go over these basic things to introduce the team so that they see, oh, there is a group who is focusing on this. I'll probably put up that little slide of the puzzle pieces that shows there are a lot of components here, and I'm not going to go over each one, but just so that they see, oh, parents, students. I'll probably show them the slide that has bullying in the middle, and then it looks like the spider web thing that has who, what, when, where, and so forth, just because I want to tell them that there is a survey their children have done the last couple of years, the older students, and we'll continue that so that we want to see where is bullying happening, who is it, so that we have data. And again, that'll take me 30 seconds to make that point, but that's why I'm showing that slide. And then to me, one of the biggest things is I'm putting up the bullying definition. And that's one slide that you all may want me to send you, because remember, the definition is bullying is when someone repeatedly and on purpose says or does mean or hurtful things to another person who has a hard time defending himself or herself. And on my slide, I have it color-coded so that one part sticks out when someone repeatedly, so that I can tell the parents, bullying is not when one student comes up to someone and shoves them and embarrasses them and goes off. That's inappropriate, that's aggressive behavior, it's against school rules, but it's not necessarily bullying because it may not be repeated. And then the next section says something mean or hurtful. You know, that's in a different color, so we can say, here's another component. So that's the slide that I'm going to go over with the parents. And then the other thing I'll probably show them is the little slide about bystanders, so that we can tell them a big part of this whole training is if a child wants to bully, we can't stop them from bullying. We really can't. We have ways that we can hopefully prevent it from happening too often or dealing with the behavior once it happens. But the goal of this program is more dealing with everybody else rather than those two children, but dealing with all of the students who either encourage it or see it or don't do anything about it, and empowering them. And hopefully that's a good way to diminish, if not do away with a problem of bullying. So I'm going to mention just real quickly that piece. And then I'll show one slide that just shows the bullying rules. And that's another slide that you all probably want so that it's on a slide, just those 4 rules. And then maybe end it, I'm not sure yet, with just one slide that says teachers will be having class meetings so they can talk about issues, not just bullying, but have time for children to share what's going on in their classroom. And this is how we're going to hopefully deal with the bullying problem. Okay? So if you all think of other things that you say you really should go over that first night, I just don't want a 40-minute presentation, and I really don't want a Q&A time. You know, I don't want the parent to say, well, my child, when she was in Miss Jeffrin's class, was with, I don't plan to ask if they have any questions. That's why I'm going to do this part before I go on to the new Read to Achieve that 3rd grade teachers are very familiar with the new retention rule and all. The next slide goes right into that because I don't want to pause for an open discussion. But that's what I plan to do to kick it off to the parents. Okay. Yes.
As a committee, we're also going to hand out at the meeting, open house, is a sheet that will have the program developer's name. You know, he's Dr. Dan Aveas in 1970 started the program, and there's a little blurb, and then the anti-bullying rules that they may hear their student come home with talking about, and then also the definition of bullying, so they can once again have that information posted at home. So that one sheet, the parents will leave here with Friday.
Is that good?
Is there anywhere in the booklet for having that tells you how to have the conversations with the parents of the bully? Do y'all know where that is?
It's all in here. I want to say I just saw
I
it
was
on
glancing through, but
97,
okay.
96, 97. It goes through the strategies. You're doing the parent phone call, talking with the student.
Great. That's what I was talking about.
Starts around there. I'm not sure that it's exactly on that page though.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Since you mentioned that, my mind sometimes just goes places like there's a rabbit. It just did. One of the things also we're going to be talking about at Wednesday's opening staff meeting is a review of the PLCs, because that's something that the system has said. We introduced it last year, but as a system they didn't monitor it. They're going to monitor it this year. I'm even required to have available to them your all's monthly summary sheets that you give me to show what you're doing during a meeting. And I'm going to talk more about that on Wednesday. But most of your PLC meetings should be, we gave this common assessment in 4th grade. We're getting together and looking at it. Oh, Harriet's students, their lower students did this on there, where Emily's students did this. What did you do differently? That's your typical PLC. But one of the PLCs this year for K to 3, especially 3rd grade, is also going to be dealing with Read to Achieve. They've told us that's something you all should be talking about during a PLC. But since you have to give me like a summary of this is what we talked about and it's not supposed to be we're going on a field trip on Tuesday, I would say early on a good PLC documentation would be our grade level has met and we shared where do you go to find this thing on parents. Because if you just try to read all of this on your own, there's a lot of stuff and you have too much on your plate. So maybe as a grade level team, when you guys get together, your first couple of Monday meetings that I set and call them a PLC, you might even want to say ahead of time, hey guys, let's get together and talk about what what are some class meetings that you're gonna do after your first opening 5? I think that's totally appropriate for PLC discussions.
Have these books all been handed out to the grade levels? To
Your
second
grade
grade?
level, your grade level chair has
Your grade
to.
level chair.
Oh, so the Mary Rose probably hasn't been, she's not here, okay.
We are trying to get more, and if we get even any of our money, Angela pays for all of this. If we found out some more of these books were just your guys' biggest priority over buying some other books, we'd need to hear that, because we can purchase on our own more of these classroom books, but they're expensive, I think.
If you want
$30
mine,
a
Can we
piece.
look on?
I mean, from now, you
Yeah,
can,
on
you can,
Amazon. Okay.
but if you
see
have
I
time to
anything
even
else
look
here.
at them,
Okay.
you're welcome to mine.
Before I see if there's any closing questions, I just have one last comment, and that is, we're all taking away different things from here. As I hear the presentations and as we went through the training, from me, there are a few elements that stick out to me as being the most important of Oveus here. One to me is the definition, and that's something we need to keep bringing home, because it not only is telling us what bullying is, it's very specifically saying what it isn't. And so it's huge for us when we talk to parents and stuff, not to say, well, you know, bullying is really, but I would say, well, you know, according to our training, bullying is, we really need to stick with this definition, because I think it's going to alleviate after a couple of months all of those things that Cynthia mentioned right off the bat. A lot of people are going to be, well, I'm getting bullied, my child is, because it's a hot topic. Terry and I probably get more parent phone calls on what's being called bullying than anything else. And so the definition, I think, is a huge thing I take away from this. Another one I already mentioned is the whole thing of dealing with bystanders, because Cynthia and Pam probably do that in counseling stuff, and maybe Terry does. I usually don't have a chance to. I'm dealing with this kid did it, he's going to be punished, and how do I keep the one who got bullied's mom from saying they're going to sue the school? I don't take the time to deal with everything else that could be the most long-lasting intervention, and that's what this does, is dealing with all the other kids. The third thing I really take away from this, and this is repetitive, is the class meetings, and this book that we just keep hearing has great lessons in. So we need to make sure that doesn't go by the wayside, but that somehow we make it a real priority to try to weave it in as much as you can. So that's the end of my little sermonette on that. We're early. It's 11 o'clock. So we just want to see, are there any, first of all, any closing questions